how are you?
Introduce myself.
Hi.
Sharon Ellison.
Hi, Matt Walsh.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. I'm Matthew Walsh, Chief of Police for Indian Head Park. For those that don't know me, I've been here since October 2nd. It's been really a good journey so far. There's great people here. There's great involvement. So today we were fortunate enough to bring the United States Secret Service here. We have Special Agent Shawn Powers and Special Agent Joe Richardson. They're going to go over some of these scams. There's some recent scams that are going on that they're going to talk about. But first, I'm going to bring up Officer Verber. He wants to talk about what's going on in Head Park.
Good morning, everyone. This is a great turnout. First off, this will be on Channel 6, and it's being live streamed as we speak, and will also be on the Indian Head Park Village website as well on the YouTube channel. Before the agents come up, just very briefly, we have seen incidents of identity theft, check washing, and also deceptive practices, as well as phishing with a PH, not an FI, with phishing. A more recent one that has really occurred, and we were talking about this briefly earlier with the agents, the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin scams. We had one gentleman here in town who was just in the midst of wiring $15,000 while another resident lost $10,000 in the Bitcoin scam. And that presented itself as a tech support scam, the Microsoft scam, where she was simply at her laptop computer at home, and next thing you know, the message pops up with an anonymous number. Well, without double checking the number, she called the number. And guess who she called? The scammers, and I don't mean to pick on one geographic area of the planet, but these have a high propensity to come from India, as well as the romance scams that come from the western coast of Africa and Ghana, and also in Jamaica. So what makes these crimes difficult to investigate, at least for us, not for our federal partners, is the fact that they occur overseas. And these aren't people that are looking for rent money. They're not looking to pay their kids' college tuition, and they're not down on their luck. They're out here to scam you and separate you from your hard-earned cash. So the chief was kind enough to set this up with the U.S. Secret Service. I have some handouts as well that I'll pass out to everybody, kind of reminders as to what, not only what I had mentioned, but as well as what the agents had spoken about as well. So without further ado.
It's an excellent presentation. I've seen it before. It's interactive. If you have a question, ask it. They will bring the microphone. Let them bring the microphone to you so you can ask the question so we can get it all recorded. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone.
Hello, Hello,
I am
everyone.
Special Agent. I am Agent Richardson, and
I'm Shawn Powers with the Secret Service. We're going to be talking to you guys about elderly financial scams, bank theft, identity theft, financial exploitation, things like that. So, like again, what Chief said, if you guys have a question during the presentation, please raise your hand, and we'll bring a microphone to you guys, and we'll be able just to answer questions for you. So, without further ado. There we go. So just a brief introduction. So this presentation was created with the National Crime Prevention. It's a good website that I'll show you guys at the end, which is a good, useful source, just if you're a victim of any crime in general, not just the ones we're going to be talking about today specifically. So senior citizens age 65 and older currently make up 16% of the population. It's the baby boomer age. As the number of seniors will continue to grow over the upcoming years, right? No one's getting younger, unfortunately. I wish we could find a cure for that, but unfortunately there's not. Elderlies are sometimes ignored, even by loved ones. So what we're going to be talking about today mainly is financial exploitation and fraud, but they also are victims of physical abuse and self-neglect as well. So for financial exploitation, it's the unique issues that senior citizens face can leave them more at risk of becoming victims of fraud or identity theft more than any other groups. Caregivers should watch for signs of financial exploitation in their older parents and realize that these crimes could be committed by anyone, even the family members or caregivers. So it's important as elderly to be able to trust family members, be able to do back caregivers or anyone that is going to be taking care of them. So as elderly, so that's also victims of financial crimes.
just to piggyback on what Shawn was saying, no matter if it's financial crime or it's any kind of general crime, most criminals are looking for a crime opportunity. So you look at the elderly as, okay, they're older, they probably don't know the new schemes out, they probably don't know the new things going on out, so they're gonna look at you guys and try to scam you or get the best advantage of you. So just if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, and plus most elderly people are retired, so they have a lot of funds already in that bank account. So what the scammers do is they go after the people with a lot of money in that bank account already.
Many crimes to consider as a senior citizen. Many criminals consider, basically the same thing I just said right now. Most senior citizens are targets because of age. Like Shawn said, they think you guys have a lot of money, whether you do or don't. Might be lonely or willing to talk to strangers, or less likely to report fraud than other age groups. No longer have their partner and confident to talk to. So they're just looking pretty much just like for any opportunity. Yes. Okay, gift card scams. Just by show of hands, do anybody know what a gift card scam is in here? Or have anybody been a victim of a gift card scam? Okay. Okay, so gift card scams are for gifts. They're not payments. As soon as someone tells you to pay them for a gift card, it's a scam. Like, you really don't have to pay somebody for a gift card. You can go out and buy a gift card yourself and load money on it and give it to anybody you want. You have a question, sir? Oh, okay.
I've heard about this, but just recently there's one that go out and buy a gift card, that they're cutting the gift card, and as soon as you buy it, the money is in their in their account already. This is a brand new thing that I've seen on the news just the last couple of days. Very concerned about buying a gift card at Walgreens or Target or any place like that. Can you maybe talk about that a little bit?
So you're saying when you buy a gift card, it's already in their bank account?
Yeah, there's something where they've cut part of the gift card, and they've already know what the numbers are, and I don't know how, you know.
They steal the gift cards.
Yes, they're still.
They steal the gift cards, they bring them out, they open them up, they cut the top off with all the numbers, then they put it back into the package and hang it back up at the store. And then once somebody buys it, the money goes to them. That's what the new scam is.
Okay, yeah, you're talking. That's like more like making fake cards, like fake credit cards, fake IDs type of thing. Right. Shawn, do you want to hit on that?
Yeah, one of the quick things, like this member was saying, that make sure the numbers aren't cut off. One thing we do see, though, that bad guys do is skimming. So what people do is they take the gift cards and they scan it real quick, and then they get that data from the card, and then they're able to use that data to then make purchases farther down the road. So with the skimming devices themselves, whenever you're at a pay station, so like a pay card terminal, it's really important to just like do a quick check on it, make sure like there's nothing that's like attached to the pay card terminal already, because that's what the bad guys do. They usually put something on that pay card terminal, and then once you put the card onto the pay card terminal, that's when it's able to take that card's numbers, and then eventually with the skimming device retrieves those numbers, and then that bad guy can basically then use those numbers to make purchases. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The gas pumps, stuff like that.
Skimming.
And one thing I did want to make note of also, just with these scams, it is hard to sometimes go to the police department just saying that you are a victim of these scams, but it's really important. Time is of the essence. So basically, if you are a victim of these scams and someone took your money, it's really important to let us know right away, because the longer it is with the bad guys having your cash, it's hard for us to retrieve that money back to you. Because once it goes overseas, it is very hard for us to retrieve that money back. But if it's in like 24 to 48 hours, we can possibly do a kill chain of the funds, and also do possibly a seizure warrant even, if we can prove that those funds were obtained illegally, and we can do those warrants to retrieve those funds back.
Yeah. So. Okay, so to spot a scam, only scammers try to convince you to pay with gift cards. If you know how to spot a tactic, you'll be able to avoid the scam. And so most of the tactics are calling you and saying, hey, can you go, or hey, I got, a good example is, I know you owe a water bill that you know that it's not your water bill. And they say, you can pay us by paying us on this gift card. And you go to the store, send us the numbers, and give us the PIN. And you go to the store and come back home, call them, give them the numbers and the PIN, and they have your money then. So a tactic is, if somebody calls you and you know you don't have a high water bill, or you know your daughter didn't call you for a gift card, or you know whatever it may be that you know that you didn't do, and somebody's calling you about it, then I just wouldn't do it at all. That's one of the main tactics with senior citizens. They try to get them to believe that, okay, you owe this money, knowing that they don't owe the money, but they're trying to convince them that they owe the money, try to get them to go get gift cards to give them money. Yes, ma'am.
Probably never a time when anyone would call you about a gift card. Is that correct?
Well, see, they won't call you about a gift card. They will call you about something else, and they want you to pay them.
Right,
with the gift
right.
card.
But I mean, I don't think ever anyone would give you a call having anything to do with a gift card, right? Because it's all.
Oh, no, ma'am. No.
it
Nobody. They wouldn't
no
call
one
you about
ever.
a gift card. No.
No one would ever. Yeah.
So that right there would be like a red flag. If somebody calling me about a gift card, that's a red flag right there.
I had an incident where a friend of mine, he got hacked, and I he didn't know it, and I didn't know it. He sent me a message that he was tied up at his doctor's office, and it was his niece's birthday. Could you go out and get some gift cards for her and send them, send me the numbers? So, my in good faith, I did, and then after it was said and done, a couple $100 were gone, and I realized that, yeah, because I checked with him if he was out of the doctor's office. He says, I'm not in the doctor's office, but I got the email from him, on his email address, so I just took it for granted. It was good, so that you have to watch too.
Yeah, that was another thing as well. So individuals are able to hack people's emails, and so basically then you can retrieve emails from people believing it's that one person, but then actually it's not, and so you then wire funds to someone else where you weren't supposed to wire those funds. Someone else
One
have
of
a
my
question?
friends who's not a senior, very sharp gal, she's a physician downtown, has 4 children, and she said when she got the call asking her for money, she said, I know it was Jimmy's voice, her son's voice. So apparently they're actually cloning your voice now, or they got the voice from social media.
Yeah, AI.
Hi, right. And so now, the other day, I was online with Schwab, and they wanted me to, no, I was on the phone with Schwab, and they wanted me to do voice activation. And my husband said, don't do it. You don't want your voice out there. But your voice is recorded many times. But she said, the only reason she fell for it is that she said, his voice. It's really frightening.
And really with phone calls in general, if you suspect it's not to be, like if you get a call saying it's from the IRS, right? The IRS is not going to call you about tax evasion. If you really are uncertain if you are possibly doing tax evasion, the best way to do is like, okay, I'll give you a call. So then you find the IRS phone number on the website and then you call them directly. And then 99 out of 100 times they'll say, hey, you're not being charged with tax evasion or anything like that. Exactly. Same with like banks as well.
I just wanted to mention that what's happened, a scam that happened to me, was that they were able to hack my email, and they were able to get all my addresses, and they sent out an email saying, could you help me? I need some, I can't get out, or I can't whatever. I can't remember exactly what the wording was. And I need a gift card or whatever. And it was the scammer. And it was very difficult because they locked me out. And I couldn't send an email out to all my contacts. So I had people calling me and say, gee, Carol, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, oh, my goodness. So I had to work through. It was AOL. And I'm wondering if the older, like AOL, the older emails are more susceptible. Are there some emails, some providers more susceptible than others?
Truthfully, I do not know the exact answer for that. We do have people in the Chicago field office that mainly look into electronic crime specifically, like cyber and everything like that. What I would say is usually just for victims in general, usually they do not know how they become the victim of even like identity theft or things like that, which is one of the things that we usually then have to go talk to the victim, be like, hey, do you know how you're the victim? And usually they do not know. So usually then we just kind of have to figure out how the bad guy got the identities, which usually somehow they do, and then they get that identity, and then they serve that onto the dark web. So basically the bad guys go onto the dark web and take your personal identifiers, social security numbers, date of birth, stuff like that, and then they use that to open up like accounts under your name for like credit cards or anything like that as well, and then they make purchases, and sometimes you don't even know about it till later on.
Just have, I think this email is on the dark web. That I have, I have a couple of security things that I have, over the years, Equifax, I can't remember how many that I have, and they said your email has been found on the dark web. So, and you're like, oh, but nothing has happened since then. So
Yeah.
you know.
So
I
there's
just-
actually a website. I don't know off the top of my head, but by the time we leave, I can get it for you. There's a website you can put in your email, and it'll check if you are on like any dark web website.
That
So
would be helpful
you would know
for
like,
people.
okay, this email or this account is on the dark web.
Go, here, let the young lady back here talk on the microphone. Get the mic back here. All right, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, basically there were two things. One of these things, I am one of her friends,
Mhm.
and what information they asked me was, do you have an Amazon account? I need blah blah blah. So that's how they approached me. And the other thing is, I read in an email, whether it was Norton or whatever, the thing you need to do is check those gift cards when you're going to buy them. Make sure that that thing that's got the number on the back doesn't have, it's been loosened in some way, and try to get a very secure package, a packet, and it should be okay. But just look for both of those things. If you do buy it and that number's loose, well,
Yeah, I'll put that one back.
Two items. One, that people that are online should be running a virtual private network, a VPN program, for anything you do online. That will protect a lot of the things that, or prevent a lot of the things that you're talking about happening where they can get it. Secondly, you've got hacks from all of the different companies that you do business with, or even the municipalities, and they do get hacked, and your information is stolen and released by others, and it's not your fault that it went out there. Question though regarding percentage, or do you have a rate of recovery of funds, either by the people, the number of perpetrators, or by the amount of money that's recovered?
I do not have the numbers,
Okay.
but really, like I was saying earlier, it comes down to timing.
Yep, how fast?
That's of the essence, basically. The sooner you let us know about it is the more of an opportunity for us to recover those funds. So usually what they do is money laundering. So basically, once the bad guy recovers those funds, they transfer those funds into different other accounts. And so then it makes us harder to track those funds. So that's why time is of the essence. And then also, they sometimes do transfer those funds overseas.
Sure.
And of course, we're in the United States, so we don't have jurisdiction over those countries overseas. And so that's why it then makes it harder for us to recover. So really, one of the big things really is just timing, is letting us know as soon as possible.
I normally don't answer phone calls that I don't know the number that comes up.
Mhm.
But one time I answered one, it was early in the morning, and they said, hello, Jack? And I said, yes. And they hung up. Can they use that yes against me at all?
Yes, that is a possibility.
Should I be concerned?
I mean, I would just, this is in the presentation, but really just routinely just check your bank accounts. You know, sometimes I forget to do it, but really just routinely, at least once a week, I would go online and check your bank accounts, look at all your purchases on your credit cards or debit cards for your bank accounts. Just make sure you don't see anything that's out of the ordinary. I know like some credit card companies like Capital One, if there's like a strange purchase, they'll notify you through an app. If you don't have like a credit cards app, I would recommend getting it. You can get quick notifications as well that way if there's some strange purchase on your account.
You can go to the next one. So common ways for them to scam you. So safely buying and using gift cards. Remember that gift cards are for gifts, not payments. So if you buy a gift card to give away to or donate, stick to the stores you know and trust. Avoid buying online auctions at an online auction sites because the cards may be fake or stolen. Check it out before you buy it, which what ma'am said back there. Make sure they have protective stickers and on the cards, and that they not appear to be tampered with. That's a big one, the tamper with part. If it looked like it's tampered with any kind of way, I wouldn't buy it at all. I'll put it back and maybe tell the store, maybe they can take it off the shelf to prevent somebody else from being a victim of it. And keep your receipt. This or the card's ID number will help you file a report and possibly get your funds back as fast as we can get it back, the faster you report it.
All right, so preventing financial exploitation, like we were just talking about how everyone can become a victim. So these are ways to help prevent that. So family and friends can help with early detection. Talk to your loved ones about your finances. Don't be ashamed should you become a victim. This actually came up last night. So I went to the Southwest Suburban safety meeting, which was between Olin Park and Tinley Park. And actually one of the people there brought up the point that it is embarrassing sometimes to say, hey, I am a victim of a scheme. But it is really important if you are that to not be ashamed. It does happen, and to let the local authorities know right away. Formal credit checks of senior finances. So like I was saying earlier, I would routinely just check your bank accounts, any credit cards as well, making sure that there's no strange purchases that you never made on there. And then also background checks on caregivers or people close to the victim. So yeah, you guys can be like your own investigators. So if you guys do need caregivers, like get the references, you know, like see if they have like a resume. I would call those people from past employers, get as many information about them as possible. I even know for my job, like when they were doing my background check, the person that was doing my background check, once they talked to someone I put as a reference, they're like, hey, who else do you know that knows this person? And so then you just get more contacts and then be able to find more references to find out what their character is like. You have a question? And then these are some warning signs. Overdrawn bank accounts. So basically, if there is a strange purchase that's on your account, that is a possible sign to be aware of. I would definitely let your bank or credit card company know. Junk mail piling up at home, numerous phone calls from numbers child or caregivers don't recognize, or give me gifts, cheap, useless items like whistles, hats, rulers, bumper stickers. So one thing with caregivers to be cautious about is sometimes like they might have to like go out and get groceries for you, right? So like they have access to your cards. And so then they might add on to that, oh, let me buy you this, and then they have more and more access to your cards. So that's something just to be cognizant about, making sure to have a hard tie on those funds and not make sure that they aren't trying to take advantage of you with your credit cards.
And just to hit on that one, if you're into digital shopping, which I know we're talking about like digital stuff, which is kind of like cliche, but like the Kroger, I know Kroger does a really good job at it, or even Walmart. You can buy your groceries online yourself, and you control all that, and then you can just go have them pick it up for you, or you can have it delivered to your house to prevent like people from having your information and all different type of stuff.
And then this is some intervention. If you suspect that an elderly has been exploited financially, file a report with your local police department. So me, I work out of the southwest suburbs of Olin Park. So now I even have contacts with this local police department. They can easily also reach out to me, but the first step is to get in contact with your local police department. Then also I'll be able to help them out as well and be a good resource. Contact the local audit protective service agencies, and then contact your state's attorney's general office as well. All right, now we're going to talk about telemarketing fraud. Criminals use high-pressure sales tactics and psychology to exploit the trust of victims. Remind older loved ones that offers that seem too good to be true usually are. You usually aren't going to get a call saying, hey, you just want a trip to the Bahamas, right? I mean, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. You do not have to be polite to the salesperson. You know, you guys have to be strong individuals and stick up for yourselves. They're just trying to take advantage of you. So you have to be able to support yourselves and be like, no, I do not want this sale. I do not want to be scammed. And you can really just hang up the phone.
Yeah, like you don't have to be polite at all. Like I get calls all the time, numbers I don't know, and I'm like you, I don't answer them. But if I do and it's just weird or whatever, I just hang up. Like, you don't have to listen. You don't have to get the whole spiel they're going to give you. If you don't know the person and you think it's weird, just hang up. If they know you, they'll call back or they may text you or leave a voice message. That's how I look at it. If it's important, they'll call back or leave a voice message, and I'll call them back. But if you don't know them, you don't got to be nice. You don't got to listen to them. You can just hang up. That's why I tell my mother and my grandmother.
Something someone told me which works. If someone is soliciting something, they might not be a crook or anything, but if you say, please take me off your calling list, they will immediately hang up. Yeah, so that you don't have to say, why'd you call me or whatever. So that helps. Yeah.
I was at Brookhaven shopping one day, and a lady came up to me and asked me if she could use my phone.
I wouldn't say no to that.
And I said no. Or she said, or I could give you the number and you could call my mother to tell her I'm running late.
No.
But then that person has my number. That's the whole thing, is once I would make that call. So I was very suspicious of that.
Yeah, so for something like that, you just have to use judgment. Like, sometimes people can be, they just really need the help and just come up to you and ask you, could you use the phone? Or in a situation like that, if you don't feel comfortable, I would just say, just go into the customer service counter and ask them, can you use their phone? Or I don't even know if they still have collect calls, but but you can use the phone or something. But just tell them to go into the store and, hey, just ask them, can they use their phone? And I'm sure 75% of the time, if it's a nice person, they'll let them use their phone. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if you're going to go through this later on in your presentation, but I was looking through my Medicare account, and I noticed that there was a medical device that was purchased under my account, and I reported it to Medicare. And Medicare, it took me a while to get to the right people to report it to, and it seems as though they weren't very concerned about it, like this happens all the time. And should I be really concerned about my account other than somebody might have my Medicare number?
Yes, sir. We're gonna go through that. I believe that you're talking about identity theft, and that's like later on in the presentation. But we're gonna go through that there. But I would be concerned, and I will follow up with them on that, because
they said they're going to get back with me, and they never did.
Okay, yeah, I will follow up with them on that and keep bugging them about it, because somebody could have your information, or ask them, can you change like your card number or like some type of identifier to your account. But I definitely will get back with them on that one.
Recently, I heard on the news that that was reported a company, I think in Northbrook or somewhere, was found guilty of making false Medicare charges, and it was we happened to have similar charges on my mom's account, so I called them and reported it, and I think that was, I don't know if we were part of that, but it seemed like it was in the same time frame. So, and I was able to talk with someone on the Medicare side who said they were from like the fraud department, and so all of that information they will collect because they have to investigate just the same way you would what those charges.
So the they have special investigators for that. I believe, is it Social Security, or they have like special agents that in different other agencies that investigate all that. And so we may not, I for sure myself don't know exactly how they investigate it or how long the process takes. But at the end of this, I can reach out to some people and get the information for you, and you too.
I had something similar, but it was triggered by the supplement. Medicare supplement just sent me a statement that said, "Oh, it's medical devices." Some guy in some outfit in Lexington, Kentucky, and so I contacted Blue Cross, who I was with, and they said thank you, and they took it from there at that point, and they were able to look it up and say, "You're not alone. We know who these people are." So a lot of them are, and they'll just float to another location and things like that, but that's what they're doing. And then they'll say they accept assignment from the provider, which means that the provider is the Medicare or Medicare supplement is paying it, and by accepting the supplement, they're not actually getting money from you. They're just tapped into your account.
Yeah.
So I requested instead new cards and a new ID number.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was telling you. Just to request to get new personal identifiers for your accounts and information. That is, I don't know. Do you know who would investigate that?
So usually, I mean, each Blue Cross, Blue Shield, they have like their own investigators, and then usually they then reach out to federal agencies or local agencies. So one of the cases I'm working on is with Synchrony Bank, and basically the bad guy was able to take everyone's accounts number with Synchrony. So then Synchrony Bank got in contact with me for this identity theft scheme, and then we're able then to investigate as well, and it's currently going through DuPage County as well. So usually like banks, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they'll have their own investigation team, but then they usually then reach out to local or federal agencies to then get the charge. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't see it.
I have discovered after several, quite a few in fact, schemes and fraud situations, and when we make a phone call then to wherever the source, if it's Discover Card, if it's whatever it is, the company, the bank, the whatever, all you have to do when you get in line and finally get a person to speak to is say, connect me to the fraud department. It's immediate.
I don't know if anybody else in this town got one, but I got a letter from, and I don't remember the name of it, they went by 2 initials. They were representing Cook County, and some medical records had been gotten out somehow. And they warned to, keep an eye on your account and make sure you're not being charged for anything. But I really wasn't overly concerned. I'm a member of Norton LifeLock, and I figure if anything's out there, they're already checking. So I'm hoping that by not doing anything, it was all right. But evidently, you could the account numbers, your name. I don't remember whether it had social numbers, but whatever medical information they have, even where you had it, was hacked. And this company was warning us. So I kept the letter, and hopefully nothing happens. Did anybody else get one? Yeah. It was like P and K. It was.
I'm not sure, but I know there was a hack of Cook County Health.
Okay.
So when something like that happens, it's best to just check all your records, check all your bank statements, and just keep those alerts on. So they'll call you, not call you, but send you alerts either through, unfortunately, email, or they'll call you, or through the apps, like Shawn was saying. You can also lock all your accounts too. I don't know, some of you probably heard of it, but you can go to like the 3 big credit bureaus, and you can put a lock on your account. And before anybody, even including you, try to use it, they have to notify you and verify that it's you. Yes. So unfortunately, like there's a lot of different schemes out here, and you just have to be careful in general. And but that's probably the best thing to do, to put a lock on your accounts and to just verify everything and pay attention to everything with your personal identifiers on it.
Yep.
Yes, credit fees.
Again, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. You usually aren't going to get a trip to the Bahamas. And then, so telemarketing fraud warning signs. So these are some examples that they could possibly be saying to you. Basically, what they're trying to do is have you make a quick decision right away, not to think about it, and just make you be just quick. So just tip number one, never give out personal information over the phone. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, if you get a call from the IRS or the bank, be like, hey, I will give you a call back, and call that number yourselves. And then if that's then you know for sure that that's the person that you're actually talking to. So an example of what to say in that situation, I don't give out personal information over the phone. I'll contact the company directly and provide them with the necessary information. Tip number two, if the caller says something is free, then they shouldn't have to pay to receive it. They should not need to pay handling charges or taxes. So something you can easily say if a scammer gives you a call and gives you that situation, I shouldn't have to send money for something that's free. And that's something that you will possibly get a call about, saying like, hey, like, you want all this money, but you have to give us a certain amount of money to retrieve those funds. Really what they're just trying to do is get your bank account information and then possibly steal your funds. Tip number three, limited time offers should not require an immediate decision. Legitimate callers will not rush them. They should sleep on it for a day or two. So really what they're trying to do is have you make a quick decision without actually rationalizing it and thinking about it through. So something you can say in that situation is, I'd like some time to think about this. Tell me how I can get in touch with you. If I'm interested, I'll call you back. Tip number four, be wary of any caller that tries to convince them not to speak with anyone about the call. Again, that's just trying to make you speed up the process, not think it through. Also, if you talk to someone else, they might have the whereabouts to be like, hey, this is a scammer, and so that's why they don't want you to talk to anyone else about this. So if you're in that situation, something that you can say is, I'd like to take some time to discuss this with my family and friends, and I'll get back to you if I'm still interested. Tip number five, it can be hard to understand the verbal details of an offer. Request to receive details in the mail. Legitimate business offers and investments should be able to comply. And if you are in this situation, something that you can say is, if you can't mail me the information, then I can't talk to you. So that's another way, challenge them, be like, hey, if this is legitimate, mail it to me. And then if it is a scammer, that's one way we can possibly track it back if they have a return address. And then with passwords, 80% of data breaches involve leverages weak or default passwords. So that's really important, guys. So make sure if you have multiple accounts to have different passwords, because if you just have one password and they take that one password, then they have access to all those accounts. So it's really important to have different passwords and be able to safeguard those passwords to make sure that no one else can retrieve them. There's many ways to do this. You can write them down and have them be in a safe somewhere. I know there's websites where you have to have a password for that website, but then once you're in the website, it has your list of all your passwords. So there's just different ways you can go about it, but definitely have strong passwords and make sure that they're different. Usually in my passwords, I have them be like sayings like stopping bad guys or something like that. Like if someone were saying that's long, but it's easier to remember. All right, and then for fraud, Federal Trade Commission received a total of 5.7 million fraud-related complaints from consumers in 2021 for $5.8 billion. Some of the fraud is foreign money offers, prizes, sweepstakes, internet auctions, internet services, some shop at home, catalog sales, telephone services, Amazon account takeovers, cryptocurrency investments. That's something that we do see a lot of is account takeovers. So they do, the victims do not know how their PII, the personal identifiers, got stolen. But then the bad guys then take over those personal accounts, and then they have those cards shipped to their address, and then they use those cards to make purchases on their accounts. So that's just some ways that they're doing some fraud.
So identity theft, seniors have the smallest rate of identity theft fraud, are the smallest rate of identity theft fraud victims. However, the Fraud Trade Commission received a total of 56,584 identity theft-related complaints from consumers aged 50 and over in 2005. The biggest one is credit card fraud. They're just from a lot of online shopping, been on the internet, um, skimmers, all different type of ways they can do that. Bank fraud, same way as calling you, getting your bank information, or maybe sending you an email, claiming to be somebody and trying to get your information. Phone or utilities fraud, that's a really popular one. 63% of identity theft is committed by someone the victim knows. So that's just going back to what we were saying earlier is even your family members, you got to be careful of who knows your information or who has it, has access to it. Just got to really trust them and even challenge them as well. Prevention tips, do not provide your personal information to anyone you have not contacted directly. Shred all, this is a really big one, shred all personal information. Anything, any type of mail with your name, address, bank statements, anything, just shred them. I don't know if anybody, does everybody have a shredder at home in here? Yeah, I would shred all of it, even to the point where if you get a package from Amazon or anything, just cut the label off and shred that too with your address and name on it. Routinely monitor financial accounts and billing, the same thing we mentioned earlier. Make a copy of everything you have in your wallet in case it's lost or stolen. Also with that, make sure if it is lost or stolen to lock everything right away. I don't know if you are really big on the apps nowadays, but on the apps you can lock all your cards pretty much nowadays from the app. Keep records of conventional conversations and copies of all correspondence. Warning signs, failing to receive bills or other mail, receiving credit cards for which you did not apply for, being denied credit or offered less favorable credit credit terms for apparent reasons, and getting calls or letters from debt collectors or businesses about items or services you did not buy. That's a really big one.
I've gotten frequent emails saying that my package cannot be delivered because there's a problem with it. Please click on this link. I just delete them because I know, if I've gotten something from Amazon or someone, they will contact me directly, not by email. It'll be on my account.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, especially now during the holidays. I know me, especially, I'm like making orders through Amazon and making it shipped to loved ones. Really, just when it looks to like email specifically, usually there'll be like one small like thing off. Like there'll be like lettering wrong, grammar could be wrong, or even on the email that was sent from. So like if it was Amazon, like they could have an extra O in there, like the O would be actually a 0 instead of an O. So they do like small little things like that to make it legitimate, but there's all the small little cues that you can see in the email that makes it show that's fraudulent. And then usually, do not press on the link because that's how they can possibly then retrieve that information. So if you have a question like about a package or something like that, contact Amazon directly. And that's going to be big now, especially during the holidays, because everyone's sending out packages and gifts to other people.
Or look on your Amazon account and say the My Order section, and it'll tell where's your order. And Amazon sends pictures nowadays when they deliver your package. The real big thing with emails, just in general, not just Amazon, if, say, like Amazon or even Walmart, if somebody emails you, it would normally say, like, www.amazon, and it say at gmail.com. Amazon doesn't have a Gmail, email address. So that's a real big one. It can say Gmail, Hotmail, .0, whatever the ending may be, it'll be suspicious. You would know right away, like, this is not from Amazon. And so like Shawn was saying, just don't click on it, just delete it, and just check your accounts. Yes, sir.
One big thing is instead of emails is text messages. We're getting more and more text messages with fraud.
Yep, so text messages are like the spam emails nowadays. They can text you all kind of spam stuff. When you sign up for stuff, when you put your email in different accounts, it's the same as email, just delete it. If you know you didn't buy it or didn't have anything associated with it, just delete it and keep on going about your day. Okay. So identity theft and intervention. We mentioned this earlier. You can check all your the big three credit bureaus. You can file a police report with your with a local ID theft with ID. For ID, sorry guys, it's been a long morning already. For identity theft, uh, if it happens to you. Place a fraud alert on your credit cards. Same thing we mentioned with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Close accounts you believe to be fraud or may be subject to tampering. Monitor your credit. You can go to identitytheft.gov and file those reports or check all those things. And you can also file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission at www.ftc.gov.
And then this is just a good resource. The National Crime Prevention Council. So basically that website, it'll be at the very end of the presentation. There's a bunch of like links that you guys could like take a picture of or something just to have like as good resources in case you believe you guys are victims of not just schemes, but just any types of crimes. So the last thing we're going to talk about is romance scams. A sweetheart scam is when a person uses a fake online profile to engage in victims, stir up romantic feelings, and ask them for money. So they could be like Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, a bunch of these dating apps, and basically they try to match with people, and then what they do is they're really flirty, they're really aggressive, and then they want to eventually gain your trust to then eventually get access to your bank account. So basically they can be like, hey, I was just in a car accident. Can you loan me some money to help me out with this situation? So the first step in protecting yourself against a dating app scam is knowing the warning signs and what to look for. Obviously, I'm not going to read all of this, but basically, kind of like what I was just saying on the last slide, it's important to see the warning signs. They'll be overly aggressive with you. They might make excuses for not trying to see you. So obviously with the dating apps, you would want to eventually like meet that person in person to form a relationship, but they will make excuses why they could not come and see you. And so these are some signs for a person if you are actually at risk. So love bombing is a standard among sweetheart scammer tactics. It's when a person lavishes you with excessive flattery and affection and praises early in the relationship in an effort to manipulate your emotions. And they may ask you to move away from the dating profile and get in contact with you with another form of communication, maybe like through like WhatsApp. Claim to be a native English speaker, but their spelling or grammar or accent tells you otherwise. And then say they live in your home country, but they're traveling for work, which is why they can't come and see you. They may claim to be, for example, a military service member, a traveling physician, or an oil rig worker, which is why they cannot usually see you. They're usually out traveling. And also have an online profile that doesn't match up with what they've told you in terms of either photos or biographical details.
So before we go on, so the language one and grammar one is a real big one. Like you can tell somebody who been over here and know how to speak American and talk the American way, than somebody who's speaking like broken English. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be broken English. Even the way they write and type, you would tell like right away. Another big one is the profile. So, I mean, I know to think like I'm a handsome guy or whatever, you know, but if like a Beyonce looking lady comes in, send me a friend request that I don't know, it's gonna be like a red sign, like who is this lady and why she's talking to me or why she's interested in me. So that's another big red sign. Big red flag to look out for. And I know everybody's think they look good, but it's a big red flag, trust me. All right, Shawn.
Yeah, and then these are just some other signs, guys. Refuse to chat on video, claiming the phone camera doesn't work, or they don't have a cell phone at all. Nowadays, almost everyone in the United States has cell phones, it seems like. And refusing to chat on video, obviously that's just them saying they don't want to show their true face, basically. Give dubious excuses for not being able to meet up in person, saying stuff like a car accident or loved one dying. Ask you to send money for a family medical emergency or gift cards, like we've always been talking about. The big subject is the gift cards. Because they've lost their job. Again, they're just trying to be able to gain money from you in any way possible. and then they could ask you to send money in order to get their hands on your personal banking information. So again, they're just trying to get your information and then possibly steal it and then make purchases. So what to do if you think you're a victim of a sweetheart scam? First, there's no reason to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It happens to the best of us. These criminals are clever, and any of us could fall to their trickery. And here's what to do if you believe you are a victim of this scheme. File a report with an online dating app or social media website where the scammer first contacted you. They could possibly then recover the conversation, and who knows, maybe there'd be some clues in there that could possibly help with the investigation. File a report with Internet Crime Complaint Center. Report the fraud to the FTC. I would also notify your local police department as well. Notify financial institutions if the scammer got access to your accounts. Also, I would change your passwords in case they have your passwords. And basically, if you change your password, that could possibly not have them have access to your accounts. Block the scammer immediately on all forms of communication, messages, apps, phones, text, social media, what have you. While reporting the scam, it can feel scary. Sharing what happened to you can prevent it from happening to someone else. So always make notifications, let your local police department know. And then this is our last slide. So these are some resources for you to look into in case you are a victim of any of these schemes that we talked about today. I think the biggest one is the local police department. Get in contact with them. National Crime Prevention Council. I did go on that website earlier even, and it does talk about what to do if you're a victim of many crimes, not just the ones we talked about today. And then all these other ones are also just useful resources that you can look into as well. Do you guys have any other questions for us?
Before we take any questions, I just want to reiterate that it is not, do not feel embarrassed or ashamed. Like, it happens to everybody, even young folks. And another big thing is to say something. You say something, then you be helping somebody else, and helping other people not be a victim is the most important thing here. But do not feel embarrassed or ashamed. It happens to everybody. And another most important thing is if it does happen to you, report it right away. That way we can get your funds back right away. That way we can help you right away. And that way we can potentially stop the person, even try to catch them right away. Yes, ma'am.
So the recommendation is file a police report. What does that look like here in Indian Park?
For police report, just come to the station, let us know what happened. We take the report. We have a relationship with the Secret Service. If we can get on it right away, we'll contact them. And you have to just come up and get the original report started, that's all. It just come up to the station. Someone will take the report for you.
Difference if somebody gets 50,000, or are you guys gonna go after 500 or $1,000? You know, just let's be realistic. You know.
Yeah, so for it to go federally, technically, it is $1 million, right? That's the federal threshold. But so with me, I work out of Orland Park and Tinley Park, but I usually work with the other suburbs of this area. And even though it can't go federally sometimes because it's that $1 million threshold, which is, I mean, really hard to get to, we can go through the other counties as well. So DuPage, Will County, Cook County, wherever the crime took place, we can just go through the county avenue instead of doing it through federally.
I mean, I'm just asking for, like, from a police perspective, you know, say, like, you don't want to, you know, tell people that, yeah, we're going to go after your money. I'm even talking for the local police, you know, and say, you know, because I know Indian Head Park's not going to, you know, the money's in India or Africa or something. It's gone, right?
So that's where a task force part come in at. So as soon as you report it to Indian Head, they will get in contact with us, and we would try to help them with all the resources we have to try to get that money back, whether it's $500 or even $50. We would try our best to get it back for you. But for us to prosecute it, yeah, it's like $1 million federally. But the state side can do any number of money, I guess, for fraud or forgery.
What's going on now is Secret Service is partnering with smaller agencies, and you're assigned to Orland Park PD, right? Right now?
Yes,
So
Orland
he
and Tulane.
also is our conduit, so anything happens in Indian Head Park, I would call Shawn so we can get the ball rolling, because that never happened before. This is new.
You talked about the blocking the credit reports. A couple of years ago, during COVID, when the federal government was having small loans for businesses, someone stole my identity, and I happened to be checking my credit reports, and I saw that there was a hit on the credit report. So I checked into it and found out it was the federal government that it was checking. And I got their number, I made contact with them, and they were just on the verge of approving a $110,000 loan to me, which I wouldn't have had, but it was recommended that at that time I should put credit locks on all my credit reports, which I have. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, we saw that a lot, especially during COVID-19 with PPP loans, Paycheck Protection Program. Basically, individuals saying that they're a business and then getting these loans and then never paying back these loans. So that's something that we, the Secret Service, look into a lot, and that is really common, unfortunately, nowadays.
Yeah, you can also lock down your utilities. So if someone tries to set up a utility, that can be locked down. It's not foolproof because not all utilities are into that, but you can lock down someone trying to set up a new electric service somewhere in Boise, Idaho or whatever, can also get locked down.
One simple thing that I've done, if you don't mind getting lots of text messages, you can set up on every credit card to be alerted whenever a purchase is made. And you can set the amount. I have it for $1. So whenever I make a purchase, immediately I get a text that says you've made a purchase. And a couple times I've gotten a text for a purchase I know I didn't make because I'm sitting right here and watching TV. So that's just a way to kind of keep an eye on your credit cards. So you can go online and just go under the alert and notifications, and they'll let you set that up. So.
Yeah, alerts are a real big thing nowadays. Tell you everything you need to know pretty much if something's going on with your account. I would just, I mean, I'm not older yet. No offense to nobody. But if I were, I figure I already bought a house, I already bought cars and all different type of stuff. I would just lock all my credit stuff anyway. I know I'm not gonna buy anything. So if somebody do try to use my name or credit anything, it'll alert me and let me know that somebody's trying to, use my information.
Okay, last question, then we're going to wrap this up, okay?
I just was going to recommend that for anybody who doesn't know how to, to put I think it's a freeze that I've got.
Mhm.
You might want to explain more in case somebody's not that, because that's a really valuable thing.
How to lock them, you mean? Yeah, I lock my credit cards too. I was, oh, that I don't know.
So you
I've
would just
never done
go,
that.
to freeze your credit, all you have to do is go to any or all of them, and you can call them, and I believe you can email them too, and you can freeze all your accounts. It's just simple. It's not hard at all, and they'll freeze it for you. Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
You guys got to get out of here, or you okay?
No. What? No. Yeah, I'm okay. LifeLock is a good one. I got LifeLock myself, and Norton for VPN and all that.
I just want. I just want to ask you guys, how comfortable are you with that passport? I mean, not password, like those services where you just need to know one password to get into all of yours? How comfortable are you with that password manager?
Something like on the computer. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would have a different password, for everything.
No, this was, no, this is that service.
Yeah,
that
so
you have one password to get in there
Yeah.
for all your other passwords. Password manager.
personally, I don't use that.
That's
me-
enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't use it.
Yeah, because if they get that one password, they get all the passwords. So I wouldn't use it either. But real quick, what they're talking about, don't be ashamed. My aunt was scammed for $10,000. She was told that her son-in-law was in trouble. She ran and got gift cards. She was out $10,000. It happened in Oak Lawn. My email personally has been hacked. I had to change all my account numbers. I had to change everything because, again, and then I had to go shut off all my credit cards, different things because of that. I was interviewed by Brona Tumulty because I was part of, somehow they got into my former village's information, and I was part of that employment fraud. So I've been a victim. Everyone here gets these calls. Don't be ashamed, call right away. Once I was notified, I changed everything immediately and went from there.
So before we leave, I know I keep harping on it, but if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Don't share your information with anybody you don't know, or you know you didn't buy, or you didn't call these people. You don't have no idea about it, then don't do it. Don't just hang up and keep going about your day. Another thing is the gift cards. If somebody's trying to get money from you, like a government agency, like the water company, light bill, light company, anything like that, they're not going to ask you to pay them in gift cards. So if somebody asks you to go get money for Bitcoin or gift cards, it's a big red flag. Don't do it.
Police department does not take gift cards for bond. They tell you to come get up to the station or give them the numbers. They're going to bail the person out. That's not going to happen.
So those are our pointers. I know it's not the best of topic out here. It wasn't the funnest, but we thank you for letting us come out and talk to you about it. And if you have any more questions, you can let the chief or anybody know, and they can get to us and answer those questions for you.
I'm going to leave my business cards up here. Please grab one. Any questions you have, email me. Also, Officer Verber has some information here as well. But if you have questions for the Secret Service, I will get them to him and get you an answer. Okay?
Yes, I got.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, the sheets I have up up here I put together. How many of you have Facebook? You should see a lot of, actually great, because I put a lot of work into that page for the police department. I admin our police department Facebook page. If you don't have one, you can set up an anonymous account. You don't have to give all your pedigree information. You don't have to put up an image. You don't even have to put your real name. Just create a Facebook account so you can go visit the Village of Indian Head Park Police Department Facebook page. Some of you have probably been on there. I'm getting a few head nods. Yes, all that stuff that I create on there is put up there for a purpose. It's to keep our residents safe. Not only our residents, but our page goes around the country, not as well as around the world. We have a huge following on our Facebook page, so I kind of get the sour grapes. Well, what does this have to do with Indian Head Park? Well, if it's affecting one community or one state or one part of the region of the country, it's affecting us as well. We're not a fenced-off, smaller area of the state of Illinois. So everything affects, it's a cause and effect. Just backfill, and I think, sir, you had one question, or I was taking some notes. On that gift card scam, when you do get a gift card, when you're at the point of checkout, purchase, make sure when you're loading, or just prior to you loading the dollar amount onto that when you're at Home Depot, Menards, any big box store, make sure when the cashier pulls it up, the name of their organization or the company shows up on the screen before you load it, to make sure that, in fact, those cards haven't been removed, spirited away, opened. They use basically steam to open them, to loosen the glue. They reseal the packaging and then put them back onto the shelf. So make sure that before you load that on the screen of the cashier, it actually says Home Depot or Menards or Jewel Osco or whatever it might be. The second one on our senior situation, our senior cases, which I work quite a few of. One I just worked was very successful. We were able to place one of our seniors in a memory care facility, so I was able to close that case out. Aging Care Connections, I'm going to give you a phone number. 708-354-1323. I'm going to give you, whoever wants my card at the end, I can give you my card. But that's 708-354-1323. They're located in downtown LaGrange. They are a fantastic resource for services. They also have a section in their offices for the Illinois Department on Aging. They're adult protective services. You can't say that fast. APS. We work with them, or I work in concert with them when I'm working some of my senior or my older Americans' crimes. And secondly, SMP. Who was the gentleman who said they had a situation with their Medicare? I have the phone number for that. It's called the Senior Medicare Patrol. It's called SMP. This is their general number. It's 877-808-2468. I'll repeat that. 877-808-2468. They'll hook you up with a local or a regional SMP that can help you with any issues that you may encounter with Medicare. That can be any durable goods purchases. Somebody said I think they had something show up on their Medicare card. Usually it's insulin testing kits or hand braces, that type of thing, crutches, walkers. Yeah, it's a huge ruse. The three pieces of information I have is the cryptocurrency scams. We're starting to see these here. That's the one in which one of our residents lost $10,000. This sheet here kind of made it kind of cute, I think, personally. Monitoring your credit, I walk everyone through exactly how to do that, as well as contacting the Social Security Administration and signing up for the Social Security account so you can check your Social Security number. We need to be due diligent and check our Social Security numbers as well as our credit cards quite frequently. The annual credit report that you received at one time used to be one time only a year. Well, within the last 2 to 3 months, it's now a week. What does that tell you? Because, yes, they are free. What does that tell you? That tells you that the frequency in which scams are occurring with people involving their credit is so pervasive that they've now gone to they'll give you a free credit report once a week versus once a year. That's how pervasive it is. And last but not least, the last sheet I have is on mail theft. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of what's going on with our mailboxes, so on and so forth. Cut to the chase on that. We don't need to be writing checks anymore. You have to go electronically. There's no reason why anybody should be taking a check, putting it in an envelope, even if it's a security envelope, and mailing that. What we're seeing now, at least in Indian Head Park, high incidence of these checks being subverted, and they're being washed, where they use either acetone, bleach. In one case, they actually use whiteout correction fluid to actually change the dollar amount as well as the payee. So there's no reason to be sending checks anymore. We need to be using electronic transfer funds, electronic debit cards, so on and so forth.
Before we take any questions, I want to thank the agents of the Secret Service. I know they got to go, so you can finish up with the questions.